Hi everybody, we're back in the Batlow Planted Cordon Apple block, demonstration block for the Narrow Orchard Systems project. We're now at about 6 weeks post-planting, I think, and we're starting to get a bit of growth on these trees after we headed them, and it's time to start selecting some shoots. So what we're planning to do here is to establish two main leaders, which are going to become our cordons, off which we'll have our 8 uprights per tree. So today's activity is going to be to go through and have a look at what shoots are arising from the tree below where we headed, and start selecting some. And our plan is to probably at this stage leave the top 4 shoots, and we'll see which ones of those dominate, and then we'll come back again and make a final selection of our 2 that we want to grow out to about 1.2 metres each, to get our 2.4 metres cordon length for the 2. We headed these trees at about 50 centimetres above soil level, and subsequent to that, Jeremy's put out some fertiliser. He's had some MAP and some calcium nitrate, followed up with some nice rainfall, and of course the irrigation's on now, and the result is we're starting to get some really good shoot growth here. Yeah, starting to get some confidence that we're going to get the leader lengths that we need to establish the cordons. And to help that along, we're going to take some of these, or all these lower ones off, so that all of the energy of the tree is being directed into those upper shoots, and then we'll make our final selection probably in a few weeks' time, when we see which ones look like they're going to be the best ones to form the cordons. So this is one of our trees that was basically a single whip when we planted it. Had really nice buds, lateral buds on the whip below that 50 centimetre head cut, and you can see it's responded really quite well and fairly evenly. A little bit later we'll have a look at one of the ones which was already feathered when we planted it, and the growth response is a bit different. But the plan here is to basically, at this stage we're looking to retain probably around the top 4 shoots as our potential cordons, and we'll bring that down to 2 once we know which 2 are dominant and in the strongest position. But for now we'll just move the tree guard so that we can get at these lower shoots and basically just thumb those off. A little bit fiddly, but they just come straight out. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll take that one, and that's what we'll leave at this stage, those 4 at the top. I suspect it's going to be these top 2 that we'll keep, but we're having a little bit of insurance down here, because one theory is that these top ones can be a little bit prone to snapping out when you lay the leaders down. So we just want to give ourselves a little bit of insurance to think about that over the next couple of weeks and just see how that growth comes out. Here's one of our trees that we had that were actually already feathered out of the nursery, which we had to, just trim back to some of these existing feathers and see what response we got. We're getting nowhere near as much growth as we got out of the whips, of course, but we are getting a response out of some of these buds, and it's still probably not quite clear which ones are going to be the best to select here. But there's plenty going on up here amongst these these feathers. So there's still no issue with removing this stuff down here, because we've got lots that we can use to select from up the top. So with these, I'll probably just take away this low stuff, probably up to about here, and I'm sure there'll be something in here that we can work with for our cordons down the track. One of the other things that Jeremy's done here when he put this low wire in for support of the trees and also for the irrigation pipe, he's got one of his staff to go through and apply these tree clips, because I think it's pretty important already to make sure that these trees are in the right position and in that vertical position from the start. So basically we'll use these to clip onto the wire here, and to position the tree in a vertical position like that, and holds it reasonably secure in place where we want it. We've got the first couple of rows done here for just the initial selection of leaders, down to about 3 or 4 per tree, and they're starting to look a lot tidier, and we've got some good options here for the next pass through, and we'll make that final selection of which 2 are going to be our cordons. Some good growth, especially on these whip trees that didn't have any laterals when we planted them. The buds were nice and strong and they've responded well. There's one of our feathered trees. You can see there's a couple of little branches that were there from the previous season out of the nursery. Even those, they're putting out some good shoots. I don't think we'll have any trouble selecting something from those. So yeah, it's coming along quite nicely.